Hello there, and welcome to On the Ice here on ASTV, brought to you by Dokesburg Fuels, Case Financial Group, Toby Hockey, and our friends at Pala Mountain Hockey Academy. One of their predecessors, their adversaries, if you will, in the CSSHL, joins me tonight, GM Jason Abramov, as well as their new head coach of the U17 prep program, Mr. Mark Peterson, will join us in part two to discuss the ongoings and progressions of the IHA Academy just outside of Calgary. We'll chat with both of them about this upcoming fall season, as well as looking forward to the 22-23 season and what's expected for the CSSHL and the upcoming programming for them ongoing and all the wonderful news we can report to them. So please welcome to On the Ice, Jason Abramov, the new GM, as well as Mark Peterson to On the Ice. As promised, newly appointed Jason Abramov. Sorry, Jason, for butchering your last name. I'm really sorry. How is it going today?
It's going really good. Thank you for asking, Theo, and thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely. It's been a little while going on. I mean, there's lots going on with the new season, the new programming starting up in just outside of Calgary with the Winsport facility there. Talk to me about what's been going on for the summer for you guys at IHA and some of the new appointed positions and how you're going to fulfill your role upcoming this fall season.
Well, we have had some wholesale changes here. As you mentioned, I have been appointed the new general manager of the program. My predecessor, Darcy Hodge, was here previously, and that's some big shoes to fill for him. We have hired two new head coaches, one for our U18 program, Claude Vilgrain, and as you'll speak with later, for our U17 program, Mark Peterson. So we're pretty excited to have those guys join our program here. Their resumes speak for themselves. They've played in the NHL, they've coached professionally, they've coached minor hockey, have many years experience. So we're really excited for them to share their knowledge here with our programs. And personally, I'm excited to learn from them and, get to learn a lot about not just the game, but how to deal with high level athletes. I think, obviously it's always a learning experience no matter what position you're in. And so I'm excited to learn from them this year.
Absolutely. Vilgrain, most of his time with the Devils, and then as well talking with Mark, a Western Hockey League player drafted by Montreal, and he's been all over too. So several decades of experience for these U17, U18 guys that are coming into the program. How important is that when discussing prep hockey academy life and having these two gentlemen involved in so that these players can see what the next level requires?
Well, I think first off, when families commit to our programs, there's obviously quite a bit of financial commitment that they make. And when they make that kind of commitment, they expect coaches to have the experience and the knowledge to help their kids develop. At the end of the day, we're a development program. It's important for us to develop kids on the ice, off the ice, and in a position of Mark's, I think it's his experience and how he's developed players throughout the years. It becomes invaluable for these kids and these families. And which is why I think our programs are attractive, is that we want to bring in people that know what they're talking about and know what they're doing to ensure that at the end of the year, these kids have developed in many facets, not only, again, their game, but off the ice, understanding what it is for citizenship and character. And you're right, what it does take to move on to those next levels.
Certainly moving on to the next levels is what academy life is about, not just on the ice, but also in the classroom. A lot of these kids, we're seeing them in their draft years up in these last several years that I've been paying attention. They're going to Division I programs. They're going to CIS programs. They're going to opportunities that are athlete, academic, student athlete preparation programs, as well as seeing some of these top ones get drafted into the NHL. IHA has, definitely some room to grow and definitely room to do well on the score sheet this year. What are we looking forward to for the school this upcoming year and some of the excitements we're going to see for the fall and winter coming up?
Well, I think every year we enter with quite a bit of optimism. Recruiting is always a challenge. There's no doubt about that. We don't have a feeder program, a U15 or 16 or 14 program. So recruiting is a bit of an issue at times for us. And we work very hard at trying to attract families to our program and show what we can offer. In saying that, I'm excited about the upcoming year for both teams. Our U18 program, I think, with Claude's direction, has brought in quite a few good players. So excited to see where they go. our U17 program with Mark. We've got some good players there right now. We still have a few players that we need to augment our lineup with, but I think we're a bit deeper than we were last year. And again, you look at the standings, we struggled last year. There's no doubt about that. But in saying that, we have 10 of our players off that team that are moving on to higher levels. So we feel proud of our development plan and how we develop kids. Our goal now is to, get a little deeper in our lineup to, have a little more success and sustain that success. So I'm looking forward to, again, having those guys come in. Just how we've set up our programs. We make tweaks here as far as our dry land goes, as far as how we manage it with our school, how we manage it with our dry land coach, how we manage it with, we're looking at working with a sports psychologist program. So adding all these things into making sure that we can develop high-level athletes is important to us. And every year as we go on, we learn what we can add, how we can tweak. And again, every year brings a lot of optimism with what we have added.
With regards to Mark's hiring, what was that process like for the academy, and why was Mark the best fit for the position of the U17 program?
We had a few people interested in the program, and we did some interviews, and we had some great candidates, to be honest. And I had a discussion with Mark. It lasted a couple hours, and I felt very comfortable with Mark talking about him. Sometimes people think, and this is not my opinion, but sometimes people think, he played in the NHL, he's a professional. He thinks he's above people, not Mark in particular, but just a general comment. And Mark and I had the discussion. He's very down to earth, very easy to talk to. He's a hockey person, and I absolutely, quite frankly, loved it. I was able to talk hockey. It wasn't just about the role. It was about, how do you approach this? What do you do here? How do you work with kids compared to adults? How do you work with pros compared to minor hockey players? And the more we talked, I just felt a bonding connection with him, and one that, again, he's down to earth, very knowledgeable. He wants to be here. He wants to help develop kids. We share similar philosophies in that it is about development. You win with 4 lines and 60 and 2 goaltenders. You don't win with 1 line. And so a lot of our philosophies align that way. And so throughout the process, I felt very comfortable with Mark as becoming our head coach, and have been ecstatic that he did accept it. And we've worked quite closely here since he's been hired to try to figure out our program here, how we can make it better. So super, super excited to have him on board.
Attracting Claude as well as Mark here to run these programs for the new students, athletes that are attending IHA or prospective students. What is it about IHA that should be that game changer for them? Is it the culmination of student athlete life? Is it the aesthetics and the infrastructure that is available to them with the this WinSport area? Give us a bit of a rundown, Jason, of when a student first arrives, becomes part of the IHA program. What are they expecting from their program to give back to the students?
Well, obviously our programs are based around hockey, so everybody wants to know about development of hockey, how their kids, how the family is going to benefit by being part of our program. And again, bringing on professional coaches who have a great track history and development, that's important to us. Bringing on our auxiliary staff to making sure that, we can have skill development and a nutrition plan and all that. So I think that's important. You do mention it. One of our, mantras is that we want to develop student athletes, not athletic students. So in saying that, we have a fantastic partner with our school in the National Sports School based right here at WinSport. So they're ranked 36 out of 253 secondary schools in Alberta. We are the highest ranked CSSHL school in Alberta. So we're pretty proud to be partnered with them. So that's another big part of our package, is that not only do we have a great development track record, but we also have a great school that we're working with. So once we combine those two, and with the facilities, WinSport is a fantastic facility. On top of that, we do have a brand new minted clubhouse here at WinSport. It's about a 2,500 square foot area that, we have TVs where guys can watch TV, video games, play ping pong. There's a study area. So just to build some camaraderie with each other, a place to hang out. It's nice that, quite often you get kids that haven't played together, first meeting for the first time at IHA. So building that team up together, getting that camaraderie, it's important. And we find that it's a great place for them to come and just hang out and be teammates and be friends. And, there's a gym downstairs from where we're located, so they go play basketball. Again, ping pong, video games, watching hockey games. We were quite fortunate this spring, maybe not if you're a Calgary Flames fan, but we had the Battle of Alberta. So we had a bunch of guys come in here wearing their Oilers and Flames jerseys and bought pizza for the night, and guys were barking at each other and just having a great time. So we think we have the facilities, we think we have the staff in place, we think we have the development plan in place to have greater success moving forward. And that's what we're going to continue to try to do, is be better, be stronger, and making sure that we provide value for the people that do attend our program.
Progression and development, two key words from the general manager, the newly appointed general manager of the IHA program, Jason Abramoff. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm going to let you go off the hook so far, because I'm going to put Mark Peterson on the hook as we come back from the break here on the ice. Stay with us. Now on the hook, Mr. Mark Peterson, the new U17 prep coach of the IHA program. Mark, thanks for taking some time of your busy day to join us. How are we doing today?
Doing well. It's a beautiful day here in Calgary, and excited to get on with the program here and talk a little bit about myself and the program at IHA.
Let's do that. You're good at doing this, Mark. I appreciate that. Talk about the new role with the U17 program and what led you through the progression of the hiring process with Jason and the IHA.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, I've known Claude for years, and we just happen to be in touch, not in a matter of hockey, and catching up a little bit. He mentioned he took on a new role at IHA under 18 program, and we talked about that a little bit, and he asked what was going on with me, and is that drugging along? He said, well, they're looking for an under 17 coach. Would you be interested? And I said, well, let's certainly talk about it more. I have to do a little research on my end and whatnot, and back and forth and this and that, and here we are today.
Your playing role, let's talk about your playing role first. Started back in I want to say the early 80s in Saskatchewan, the Western Hockey League. Moving through, getting drafted into the NHL. Is that an important thing for these young players to see, ex-NHLers coaching, or is it about just the culture of the game and just the importance of accountability and integrity that you bring to this position for these young men at IHA?
Well, I think it all counts, all matters. Having a 4-year career with the Medicine Hat Tigers, a couple Memorial Cups, and a World Junior Championship brought in a lot of experience at a young age, and then moving on, getting drafted and playing through parts of 5 years in the NHL and 4 years in the American League, and then moving on to Europe and getting that European experience as a player. So, I take from all those facets of my game on the playing side, and some parts are long ago and before these kids were even born, or the parents are maybe even dating, type of thing. But hockey's still hockey at the end of the day, and you can still take those experiences and 16 years professional at different levels and move that forward to these young players, and then maybe times 2 on the flip side, getting into the coaching side of things again, North America a bit, and then overseas. So a lot of different experiences, a lot of different cultures, a lot of different hockey cultures, and just taking those all in and making them my own.
Certainly, playing career. What got you into coaching, Mark? Was it the fact that you had an opportunity after San Diego, or is it just the fact that you enjoyed, just the role behind the bench, and that's what attracted you the most to being a coach?
I don't know. I always felt I was a student of the game. As far as, there wasn't much video certainly at the start, but as things came along and the more detailed coaches I had, the more I liked it. Found myself maybe overanalyzing other players and how they were doing in the game or whatnot, and maybe should have took more care of myself actually. But just because of some of those things, organizing ice times in summer or golf rounds of golf with the guys, I always felt I was the guy that kind of took charge a little bit and got things going in different areas. And I actually came back from Europe to play in San Diego, as you mentioned, to get into maybe coaching in North America, which I did get a bit of a start at, and then and then back to Europe. So it was a interesting path how things kind of worked out. But sometimes in this game, you never know where you're going to be, and just example back here now with IHA.
Fabulous. When you did your research with IHA before, you talked to Claude and you figure out, okay, maybe this might be something that would be interesting me. What attracted you to this position the most, and what was the feeling that you were getting once you were doing a little bit of your research and your conversations, and how you could be that fit for this U17 team?
Yeah, well, some parts, as Jason mentioned, the team hasn't exactly done the best in the win column, and needs to improve there. I think the setup of WinSport, as Jason mentioned, getting a tour there with the clubhouse, the weightlifting and gym right below, walk across the street, there's the hockey rink. Inside the hockey rink basically is the school set up. 8 in the morning they're at the rink practicing, then they're off to school, they're back for the weight training. Like, I wish I had that type of stuff back in the day. It was our skills training and extra ice time was our baseball coach was the Zamboni driver at one of the rinks, so we were able to maybe sneak in during the lunch hour with a couple of guys and get on the ice. So to have all that extra ice time available and whatnot was really attractive to me. As coaching staff with the at this level with the goaltender coach, strength coach, all those different aspects that we have available that I'll definitely use to help develop these kids. And at the end of the day, it's always been why I've a lot been into coaching, is to develop the young hockey players, and this is just a little bit younger in some sense, but my time in Denmark, I had a lot of 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds that were filling in roles, that were playing with us, that were playing also on the under 20 team, and a lot of those guys have gone on. Matt Sogaard's in Ottawa for some games in the NHL, a Danish kid. I brought the couple over to the Western Hockey League, helped Mats get to the NAHL where he started, into Medicine Hat. And those kids have moved on playing in the top league, the other guys in the DEL. Where I had these guys at 15, 16 years old, getting them in that professional atmosphere and working with them, doing extra and helping them in different parts and aspects of the game to help them as their career moves along. And I think I was a big part of that process for those guys.
Mark, what kind of coach are you? More of a defensive coach, an offensive coach? How do you like to approach the philosophy of your coaching strategy and implement it with the kids? And what are some of the important aspects they should be seeing from you with your direction in the position?
Well, parts of that's gonna change in some ways. There's gonna be structure in our game. I believe in structure. Systematic play, I think at this age it has maybe just started. And I don't really say systems, but I'm going to do and develop how they can play together better. Defensive zone, for example, to transition to offense and these types of things. I want to play fast. In the game is fast. The more time you spend in the opponent's end, the less you're in yours. And that's kind of how I want to play. We're going to have those breakdowns and how to handle them and whatnot. And special teams and little details of the game are so important. I mean, power play, penalty kill amounts to 25, 35% of the game. So you got to practice it. So we'll be working on on our special teams and developing that and it's a day by day thing. Type of coach I am. I'm a mentor, leadership type coach. I'm an older guy, but I'm not an old school screamer and yeller. But the guys will know when I'm mad or whatever. But it's not every day. So I think that's been my philosophy, is to gain that respect that this is the way we want to play, and if we're not, then we got to make some adjustments. And if those aren't happening, then maybe the more vocal guy is going to come out. But I like to lead from the front and lead by example.
Certainly leading by example. When you talk about working with, professionals and overseas in Europe and working with the AHL in Bakersfield, how is it the role of student athlete? How does that differ in terms of you coaching them a little bit younger, but also understanding that, their performance on the ice is just as important as their performance in the classroom? Because like you said, or like Jason said, 10 of their athletes moved on last year to a progression of sort. That's the most important part of the program from Jason's perspective. Is that the same you're feeling as well? And how do you approach the emphasis of student athlete in IHA?
Well, it's definitely there. I mean, a lot of these kids are going to have that opportunity maybe for NCAA scholarships down the line, or NCAA 3 or 2, whatever you want to call it. So maybe go on to the Western Hockey League, but education is for life. And whether hockey part of that for a portion of it or not, but it's not forever. And I've been lucky enough to stay in hockey, a game I love and whatnot, but it doesn't always turn out that way. So I think you gain those great life lessons of playing in a structured organization, team, learn to get along with others. There's so many things from sport that carry over to the real world. And that's, part of what I want to do. I want to make them better teammates, better players, better people, and better students down the road and for life.
Mark, we're in almost the middle of August here. School's starting next month. What's the schedule timetable for you and the team, as well as getting everybody on the same page as quick as possible?
Yeah, well, we're going to put on a bit of a conditioning camp next week. So hopefully we can. We'll see some players there. We still have a few spots to fill. Working fairly closely with Claude as far as how the organization and the culture that we want to build, the way we want to play. I think there's the odd time where there'll be some call ups, and I think with Claude's and my experience, I think we can put together a pretty good vision. And then we're basically starting at the end of the month. School starts and then practice begins, and things happen pretty quickly. We got to get the feet on the ground. We got to start building that culture, seeing what we got to work with, finding our leaders, all the different things that come into play early in the season. And then it's building the systems and that accountability for the players to want to learn, to want to get better, and want to work to get work as a group. So some team building and some of those things along the way early. Get the guys to some know each other, some don't. So we got to build that good culture right off the bat and get moving. The season starts fairly quickly, but we want to make the most of that first month.
How important is for the players to show up in shape, ready to rock, as opposed to using the conditioning camp, for the lack of a better term?
Well, the game's changed so much. We're just me and Claude were playing golf the other day, and it was like we were talking about Craig Ludwig in Montreal, and he wanted to go in front of me in a drill, and I'm like, "What's the matter? New skates?" He's like, "No, first time on the ice." Back in that time, guys kind of went to camp. Some were in better shape than others, but the game's gotten so much quicker, so much faster. Just a lot on the line to be in shape, and so we'll know right away the guys that have done some work and put in the work this summer, and some maybe we got to get caught up a little bit.
Who has a better golf game, Mark? You or Claude?
Well, I'm not saying that either of us played well enough to brag, but we both had some good shots and had some bad shots. So I won't. We're going to go back out again, and maybe we'll see what the chips fly there. But it was very close. What's this say?
Very close. Who's the faster skater back in the day? Can you remember? Did you ever play against each other?
Yeah, when he was in New Jersey and Utica, in North America, I don't know where else for sure, and then DEL over in Europe as well. So, yeah, I think he was quicker. Had maybe a harder shot, more of a score, but he was pretty fast.
Pretty fast guy. When we talk about preparing these kids for the next level, how important is it to think of hockey as not an entitled sport, but rather a sport that you get to enjoy to play, but also it gives you the opportunity to open those doors, not just within North America, but everywhere in the world, to give them those opportunities that they may not have. How important is that by attending a hockey academy and making sure that message is being sent to all the players?
Yeah, if you look at sport in North America compared to Europe in some ways, there'll be 60, 80 kids trying out for a AAA team. Ours is built a little differently, that we basically have our cards and have to do our homework to bring in the guys that we bring, which would be a little more similar to Europe, where DL, you only have so many cards to fill, and within imports or your German side, and there's not really any trading or whatnot that you see in North America. So I've kind of gone through this in my time in Denmark and whatnot, where you kind of got to work with what you got to work with, and you're always working on keeping everybody happy, but happiness comes from good hard work and paying the price to earn that ice time, and overall, I think kids, they decide their ice time. Confidence, that I can have all the confidence in the world, and you got to have confidence in yourself.
Makes perfect sense, Mark. Great way to end the show. Thank you so much for joining me, taking time out of your busy day. I know you got golf coming up here. Appreciate it again. Mark Peterson, the new U17 head coach. Any final words you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Enjoy the rest of your summer, and all you the young hockey players get ready for your camps. They're around the corner, and best of luck to everybody, and have a great season.
Thank you, Mark. We'll see you later soon. Well, good luck to seeing how the team works this fall in the CSSHL.
Sounds good. Appreciate it.
And that is Coach Mark Peterson, the U17 coach with IHA. I'd like to thank him and Jason for joining me here on the ice. Again, thanks to our sponsors, Doak Spoke Fuels, Case Financial Group, Toby Hockey, and our friends at Pilot Mountain Hockey Cave. We'll be back later on after the weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the rest of your summer, as Mark said, and take care of yourselves. Take care of your neighbors. Bringing more goodness to the greatness, as always, here on ASTV. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Welcome to Pilot Mountain Hockey Academy, your world-class academic and hockey training facility created to maximize each student's athletic and academic potential. Blackjack Stewart Arena, home of the Buffalo, is inside the 46,000 square foot complex, as well as a curling rink and other facilities. The students have a unique combination of successful, well-rounded education at Pilot Mountain Collegiate Institute and the professional hockey training in an encouraging community. The years of experience of on-ice coaching propel our students to the next level, both mentally and physically, in a professional environment.